You know, I might get flagged for saying this, but WandaVision was a 9 out of 10 show. Until this finale. That brought this down to at least an 8 for me. But what's good, y'all? If you're not gonna hear, you know who it is, Pizzy Universe, and today, I want to talk about WandaVision. Spoiler alert! This is the only spoiler alert you will be getting, so if you have not seen the show, I suggest you make like Monica in episode 3 and... Now, some of you simpletons might be asking, what's WandaVision? Well, WandaVision was a show created for Disney Plus to expand the MCU, but this time via a TV show. And I know what some of you are saying, but Pizzo, we already have shows in the Marvel Universe. Yes, but the movies like the act like both don't exist, so I'll do the same. Now, this show is going to be centered around Wanda Maximoff and Division, who I think everyone can agree are two of the strongest characters in the universe physically, but they weren't utilized to their full potential by the respective movies they were in. They were good,
but it can be better.
So, the geniuses in Marvel were like, let's take these two characters, who are also in love, but have a tragic story, as they didn't get to celebrate their time together because they died due to Thanos. Let's take them together, and let's put them in a show. But let's make it a weird show. Like, this show's gonna have sitcoms and horror aspects, and Vision died, but he's in the show. How is Vision alive? What's going on with town? Ah! It's such a good idea. Now, I know y'all read the title, and some of you are already ready to attack me with your keyboards, so let me start out by saying, I loved this show so much, especially everything they did with the Wanda and Vision relationship. Like, the movies, I'm gonna be real, the movies didn't do much for me. Like, when they were in Love and Infinity War, I was like, hey, that's cool, but I feel like I missed a few steps, you know? But in this show, oh my gosh, I so believe they were in love. They handled the relationship in this both beautiful but tragic way, because we know that it's not going to end in a happy ending, because we know that Vision's dead. So Vision being here, it isn't natural. It's a weird, like, Frankenstein's monster scenario, and we know that it can't end happily, but you want it to, and that's what makes it good. I think this is the best MCU relationship, although it does get, you know, a little gaslighty at times. Hi, episode 5.
Because you won't let him reach them!
I don't know what you're talking about!
Stop lying to me!
This. All of this.
But I think I can say with confidence, best handled MCU relationship. I think the kids, Billy and Tommy, were great. Big shout out to Julian Hillard and Jet Klein. I really hope I said that right. Y'all killed your roles. I mean, technically speaking, Wanda killed your roles, but let's not talk about that.
Hey, hold on, this shit ain't funny. It ain't funny, but it is.
They finally gave my girl Darcy the correct writing she deserves. And bro, can we talk about Monica and Jimmy Woo? Oh my gosh, they're so good. So good. I love the trio that's there between Monica, Darcy, and Jimmy. And also, I love the weird little arc Jimmy goes through from learning magic from Ant-Man and the Wasp for this show. Like, his card trick goes a long way, and I'm so proud of him.
Close-up magic.
How'd you do it, Scott?
Do what?
The card trick?
Sir, can you knock?
James E. Woo, FBI.
Incredible.
I loved all of the, like, thriller and horror aspects the show did with the weird, like, uncanny valley moments. And the CGI in this show was so good. Like, everyone who was on the show, big shout out to you. But all of that being said, I think the finale was still kind of disappointing. I didn't hate it. By no means did I hate it. Not even close. But, you know, like my parents towards me, I expected more. And if you'll stick with me for a few more minutes, I want to explain why I was kind of disappointed. I feel like other than the first two episodes, which were kind of slow in comparison to the rest of the show, from episode 3 to 8, the show had such an amazing pace to it. It was constantly moving from point to point, but never in a way that felt rushed or confusing. And like, let's be real, they had a lot of points they needed to handle, but they still took their time to explain them. Like, they explained Wanda's backstory, Monica's whole journey from being blipped to getting assigned to the Westview case.
They're back. They're all coming back. We don't have the capacity.
Sword's existence in general, Vision's journey from learning that he was dead and that learning that Wanda's been controlling everything, Agatha's backstory.
And I killed Sparky too.
Like, the show had so much they needed to handle, and they did it amazingly. Until episode 9, because that's where I feel the pacing got bad. You see, episode 9 was the last episode of the show, and despite how good they've handled a lot of the points, they still had a lot of unanswered questions going into episode 9, and it was too much to handle in one episode. I think because they had so much to handle in one episode, the pacing ended up being really rushed and really fast, and some of the answers we got for some of our issues were very unsatisfying, but we'll get into those.
You're Ralph Boner?
Boner.
I think in my opinion, the show would have benefited from having one more episode to really space out some of these beats. But in the end, it is what it is. Let me tell you about one of my favorite movie fight scenes of all time. It's in Infinity War, and it's the Doctor Strange versus Thanos fight on Titan, when they fought on Titan. Even though the fight is short, it shows the possibility of what magic can do in the MCU, and it's so good, bro. I don't even know how. Bro, did you see that? He took his blast and turned it into butterflies? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Look at Steven, man. So inspirational. But that fight showed the possibility of what magic could be in the MCU, so we found out that Agnes was actually Agatha Harkness, the witch, and Wanda was revealed to be the Scarlet Witch. I was so excited for the fight that was gonna happen. I was hoping it was gonna be like Doctor Strange versus Thanos, but like times 1,000, because both of them are magic users. But in the end, it was just the two of them floating against a red background, throwing red and purple magic balls at each other, with the occasional teleportation or genjutsu. And like, yeah, I get that Wanda only knows a few tricks and isn't well versed in her magic yet. But like Agatha, you've had so much time since 1962. I know you know more techniques than just throwing magic balls and mind control. And like, not to mention Doctor Strange again, but like, look at him. He was pushing the mirror dimension of Thanos. He was turning his energy blast into butterflies, doing shadow clone jutsus, and he even gave each of his clothes a little whip. Like, bro, come on now. So while I do think that the fight between Wanda and Agatha was pretty weak in the end, I will give them credit. The scene where Wanda used the runes against Agnes, even quoting her own words at her.
Runes. In a given space. Only the witch who cast them can use her magic.
Chef's kiss, my boy. I love that so much. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room. My boy Pietro Maximoff, also known as Quicksilver. Why did they do that to his character, bro? Why? Like, when we saw that Evan Peters was playing Quicksilver, everybody lost their mind, as they should. Like, think about it. He was the Quicksilver in the X-Men movies, and now he's here. And we know that Disney bought Fox, and now he's here in the Marvel movies. Oh my gosh, does that mean we're getting the X-Men? Nope. Does that mean he's the gateway for like the X-Men to come over here and we can get our own Wolverine or Magneto or Professor X? Nope. All of this build up, all of this theorizing we had about what Quicksilver's presence here can mean for the rest of the universe doesn't matter, because they casted Evan Peters to play a dick joke.
Ralph Boner?
Boner.
And it's not even a clever dick joke. That's the part that really grinds my gears. If you're gonna ruin his character, at least make it a good joke. Like, make it a play on words. Why? Why? Who wrote this? Who wrote this?
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
I feel like the show and the fans didn't really give Wanda the amount of consequences that she really deserves for her actions. Like, yes, Wanda is baby and I love her a lot, but at the same time, she kidnapped a whole ton of people for a week, invaded their brains, making them think what she wanted them to think and dream her nightmares, and they could not see their families for an entire week. Like, not to be brash, but she's kinda not a good person anymore. Like, yes, I don't think she maliciously wanted to hurt any of them, and I think she had the best wishes in the end.
No! Stop! Stop it!
But to the people of Westview, she's basically a terrorist, and in their eyes, she just did what she did and been left with no repercussions. Like, if we're being completely honest, the people of Westview probably see Hayward as the hero, but is that a conversation y'all ready to have? I don't think so. I think Monica should have at least tried to arrest Wanda, cause you know, Wanda's a criminal. Like, Monica, I get that you have this soft spot for Wanda, even though if I'm being honest, I don't really know why you have a soft spot for her, but we'll get into that in a bit. But like, bruh, you gotta arrest her, or at least you gotta try to arrest her. Isn't that why you were assigned to this case?
Wandavision, 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 Wandavision.
Bro, Agatha Harkness was such an amazing antagonist. I'm calling her an antagonist because, for being honest, Wanda was kind of the villain for most of the show, and Agatha only really became the villain in the last like 2 episodes. But Agatha, or Agnes if you want to call her that, was such a great character because we were always wondering what her deal was. Like, she always just seemed to know something that we didn't know, and she was always just off. Like, remember a time when she asked Wanda for her line? Such a creepy moment.
Should we just take it from the top?
Plus, she was just walking into Wanda's house unprompted without a care in the world, and that's hella suspicious off dome. And then, in episode 8, we finally got all of her backstory, and it was so great, and she was so hot, and it was so great, and we were all like, oh my gosh. And then she said the Scarlet Witch line, and we were all like, oh my gosh. And then we're like, what's gonna happen next episode? And then next episode, she was kind of reduced to just, give me your power, Wanda.
They take power from the undeserving.
And that was kind of disappointing, because, you know, we were wondering the whole show, like, what does Agatha want from Wanda? She just wanted her power? Like, that's it? Like, no, like, big, like, meaning you want to do. You just want her power?
The door. Go on. Back where you came.
I don't know, bro. I feel like we just needed one more episode to really flesh out Agatha as a villain. But I mean, if we're being honest, she's still one of the best villains in the MCU, in my opinion. I just think she was kind of undermined in the finale, but that's not that big of an issue.
Wandavision, 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 Wandavision.
Oh, White Vision. White Vision, White Vision, oh, White Vision. I feel like they missed a big chance to make White Vision a bit more like Ultron. Like, let's be real. This version of Vision would be Ultron's wet dream, bro. He's got all the perks and powers of being Vision, but with no hero complex. That's right up Ultron's alley. And, you know, after episode 8, I was theorizing that maybe in order to, because, you know, Vision was pretty broken up. I was theorizing that maybe in order to rebuild Vision in their own image, SWORD maybe use some old Ultron bits, you know? And I always kind of had a theory that Ultron was never, you know, fully gone. So I was thinking maybe, you know, if they use Ultron bits to build Vision, maybe a bit of Ultron got back into the system, love. And then maybe, you know, considering James Spader was rumored to be in the cast of a show, maybe James Spader would be voicing White Vision, you know? But nah. In the end, it was just our lovable popsicle, but painted white. Also, speaking of perks and powers, I don't really think the writers understand how Vision works. Hear me out. So the only reason Vision had the powers and the memories he had pre-Infinity War was because of the Mind Stone. Like, the core of Vision is in the Mind Stone. Vision's body does not really matter. His body is just a vessel for the Mind Stone. But since the Mind Stone was obviously taken out of him and then destroyed in Endgame, it doesn't make any sense for White Vision to have any of the powers that he has. Like, yeah, I guess you could stretch it and say that since Vision's whole power is the Mind Stone, and Wanda got her powers supercharged by the Mind Stone, and since they have some of her leftover Hex on the drone, maybe they could use it to power up White Vision, but I don't really think that's how that works. And even ignoring the whole power thing, there is no way that Westview Vision could unlock the memories in White Vision, or I guess Old Vision. There's no way that Westview Vision could unlock them, because those memories were stored in the Mind Stone, which is destroyed. Remember, the body did not have the memories, the Mind Stone did. Vision's body is just a vessel.
Wandavision, 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 Wandavision.
Jimmy and Darcy was such fun characters that the show just kind of sidelined as we got to the end of it. Like, yeah, I get that the show's called Wandavision and not Jimmy Darcy Vision, but like, I feel like they could have been used more often. Especially considering how integral they were to the beginning half, it doesn't really make sense how they were just forgotten about in the later half. Like, after episode 7, Jimmy doesn't even matter, and the whole Darcy going to the Hex thing, it didn't really amount to anything.
Wandavision, 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 Wandavision.
Throughout the entire show, Hayward was a pretty good antagonist. Like, anytime he appeared on screen, I wanted to punch him, so I think he succeeded in that department. But in the finale, I feel like they kind of lost his character because his main contribution was shooting Billy and Tommy, which I feel is completely out of character for him. Like, whoa, bro, chill out. Like, yeah, he's not a good guy, but nothing in his character said he was for child murder. Like, damn, bro was really gonna empty a whole clip into those kids for no reason.
Oh, no, stand down!
But like, all of that being said, when we see him getting arrested at the end of the episode, I can't help but wonder why. Like, technically speaking, he didn't really do anything wrong. Like, yeah, he might have violated Vision's will, but I doubt that the government sees Vision as a person, so Sword probably got the right to his body and to experiment on it legally. And like, yeah, he did try to shoot the kids, but keep in mind, the kids technically aren't real, and a good lawyer would argue that in case. Like, I don't condone a single action he did, but technically speaking, he didn't really do anything wrong. And if we're being completely honest, the people of Westview probably see him as the hero.
Hold on a minute, player.
Wandavision, 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 Wandavision.
Oh, Monica. My poor baby Monica. Where do I start? I feel like Monica at different parts has been both the best part and the worst part of this season. Hear me out. I only recently watched Captain Marvel for the first time a bit before watching WandaVision, so when I saw Monica come back, I was super interested to see what they're going to do with her character, and my interest stayed peaked throughout most of the first half of the season. Seeing her point of view from returning from the blip, to finding out that her mom died while she was gone, to going back to Sword and trying to readjust to normal life, and all of that building up to her going to Westview and meeting Jimmy Woo before getting sucked into the Hex, was such a good character introduction. Like, if I'm being honest, Monica Rambeau might have one of the most solid character introductions in the entire MCU. I'll say that with my whole chest.
Say it with your chest, little ass nigga!
And as a black person myself, it feels so good to see another black person in the MCU, especially a black woman headlining. But it's after the Hex that I start having some problems with how they handle Monica's character. Exhibit A. Why does Monica like Wanda? Like, yes, I get that she sees that Wanda is going through a lot of grief and sort of compares that to her own grief about losing her own mother. But other than that, why does she like Wanda? Like, the two never really have a good interaction throughout the entire show. They start off with Wanda Hadoukening her out of a hex.
What could you possibly have to offer me?
What do you want?
I have what I want.
But the next time they really meet is when Monica goes back into the hex, and Wanda immediately picks her up and threatens to hurt her again if she doesn't leave.
Don't talk to me about that. I don't want to hear about it. All you do is lie!
And then at the end of the show, they kind of just have a mutual hey moment before Wanda leaves.
Goodbye, Monica.
Bye, Wanda.
So, why does she like Wanda? Also, I know it's gonna be fleshed out a bit more in Captain Marvel 2, but the show handled Monica's powers pretty sloppily. Like the moment in episode 7 where Monica finally gets her powers from fighting through the hex might be one of my favorites in the entire show. But after that, her getting powers pretty much amounts to nothing. She spends most of the finale locked in her room with
Boner.
And when she gets out, her biggest contribution is just taking the bullets for Billy and Tommy. Which, like, yeah, pretty cool. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but having a black woman act as a human shield for two white kids after being shot by a white man, and having Monica basically being forgotten in the last couple episodes in order to pave the way for two white women, it just felt off to me. It just felt off. Like, it's a real shame. I feel like Monica should have been a much bigger factor in the finale. And if I can make one change in this finale, I want Monica to be the one to take out Hayward, because that was her fight. Like, Hayward was her antagonist throughout the entire show, so the fact that she doesn't even get the satisfaction of taking him out, it's a missed opportunity. And like, I love my girl Darcy, but that should have been Monica's win.
Can I borrow this?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Strange? Where the he's sticking you at, my boy? Like, sir, are you not the Sorcerer Supreme? Aren't you supposed to be watching the entire multiverse, you know, checking out for any possible multiversal magical threats that could be arising?
No.
Maybe it's just me, but I feel like when two super powerful witches are fighting, one of those witches which has the potential to be stronger than you, maybe I'd go check that out, you know? Maybe I'd go check it out, but that's just me. That's just me. This one is solely a nitpick because the boys were handled super well in the show, but I did want to see what a teenage Billy and Tommy would look like. But it doesn't really matter because they're definitely coming back in Doctor Strange 2, so I'm not gonna worry about it. But you know, still would have been nice to see in WandaVision. This is my last complaint about the show, really, and I'm gonna be real with you. I'm fine with him not appearing in the show, because he's probably gonna pop up or be alluded to in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. But, you know, I wouldn't have minded the show to confirm its existence. It also doesn't help that we all thought Ralph was going to be Mephisto, because they kept saying Ralph's name and then never showing who Ralph was, so obviously we theorized that Ralph was Mephisto, and Ralph was pulling all the strings, but in the end, of course, you figured out it wasn't Ralph pulling all the strings, it was Agatha pulling all the strings, because in the end, it was Agatha all along. But like, let's be honest, I feel like the show kind of blueballed us on that one, because the show kept acknowledging the idea of the devil. They even had Pietro call the boys Hellspawns. Hellspawns. Mephisto, Hellspawn. Come on now. Come on now, Marvel. You knew what you was doing. So, you know, I guess in the end, our biggest enemy wasn't Hayward or Agatha or even Wanda. It was our theories. We played ourselves, guys. We played ourselves. But yeah, those are basically the things in WandaVision that disappointed me. Keep in mind that this show is by far one of the best creations to ever come out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is not up for the debate. Waiting for a new episode every week single-handedly made quarantine bearable, and I'm here with you. I'm hella excited to do this again in March with Falcon and Winter Soldier. But yeah, that's my thoughts on WandaVision. Now, this is my first time doing a type of video like this. I normally do gaming content, but I've been wanting to like expand more into a different field. And I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed it. But if you enjoyed this video as well, make sure to leave a like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos, and maybe even drop a comment too, because you know, dropping a comment, it brings more engagement with the channel, and I need all the engagement I can get. Look at my subscriber count. Plus, every new person that subscribes, I feel like you a new homie to the channel, and I need all the friends I can get. Come on now, we're in a pandemic. I know all of you are just as lonely as I am. But yeah, that's it. That's the video. Peace!